Why, hello there, nice to here. Today, I'm bringing you a review of this Zyac Z05, but most importantly, this is going to go great already, I can see it. Most importantly, I hope you having a good day, and this finds you well, and you enjoy what you're seeing. This is definitely a unique piece. There's not a ton of them out there, as far as I know. I will link the website I got it, but I can't link the knife. They are sold out. They were done, apparently, seems to be very, very few of them. They sold out pretty quickly. That were made, and I haven't seen them like do second runs or stuff or have any plans of doing second runs on a lot of their stuff. So unfortunately, this is not something that can be linked and may not be easy to track down or become available again, but it is interesting enough to showcase and look at. So this is less of a review and more of just a kind of overview and showcase of a unique piece, right? As I said, this is the Z05. Let us get into specs real fast, just to get a general vibe of what's going on here. 3 1/4 inches overall. Just 7 3/8 on the, or overall, sorry, 3 1/4 blade length, and just under 4 1/4. So you've got 3 1/4 for blade length, but you've got a little bit under 4 1/4 for handle length. The ratios are pretty good, and that is partially because of this rotating piece that's attached to the backspacer that allows them to get a little bit of extra blade length and sort of get that thing really maximized in there. Let us do a quick comparison. Well, obviously, flip it around, please, to our resident comparison knives. I'm going to line it up with that little piece of the backspacer that sticks out, or the floating part of the backspacer that sticks out. Comparison to our resident Conspirator and Civivi Elementum for small and large. This is, it falls in between them. It does go a little bit closer to the Elementum in size overall, but with its dimensions and the way it sort of feels in hand, I'm actually going to call this a small knife. It's close to a medium size, but it feels pretty small overall, I'd say. Despite that, however, for our grip length comparison, we have 2 AA batteries, and as you can see, you can get about, what, 1 3/4 almost grip length on there, plus a choil. You can get all 4 fingers on there. If you're in the basic position, it is just about 4-finger grip, but it is a full grip, so I can't say that's bad. If it was a little bit smaller, I probably wouldn't like it. I don't like getting 3.5-finger grips on things, but I can get a full 4-finger grip, and I can choke up, and this actually is pretty comfortable up in here. Hardware check. We have T8 and T8, and that's it. I mean, there's a lot of other screws here. Obviously, there's some screws that are attached to these rotating pieces, and I'm not even 100% sure what that screw is even doing. I guess it's holding the backspacer together, because that looks like it's 2 pieces and clamshelled. But the only 2 you're really going to have to interact with are these 2 to do most of the stuff. I have not disassembled this knife. Do not want to get in there, right? I don't think it's going to be too bad. It's just the floating backspacer on, and there's a spring in there. It is technically an assisted knife. You can actually see the spring right. Can you see the spring? Can I? Yeah, you can see it right there. There's the spring right in there. It is an assisted knife, which is definitely going to turn off some people, and honestly, I don't like assisted knives. However, this thing is obviously doing a few interesting things with its design, and I don't know. It just was fascinating enough for me to want to check out, and I'm glad I did. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. But before we start blathering about that, let's finish off with specs, shall we? The weight of the Z05 here is... Can we see that? Why does that always mess with that scale? 3.26 ounces. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure how they managed to do that. This is a titanium frame lock. Yeah, it's a small knife, but I mean, there is a lot of extra material here sitting in this backspacer and everything like that. And yet they made it basically 1 ounce an inch of weight. So the ratios in length to handle, blade to handle, and weight to blade length is actually really good, which is kind of impressive. Moving on to thickness, it is 1/2 inch thick, and with the clip, 630 thousandths. Yeah, a lot of knives seem to definitely come into that 630 to 680 thousandths with their clips. You'd be surprised how many, it seems like, just sort of equal out to that when you measure them. As for blade stock, I have to actually pop open the blade because it seats deeply in there. It's 128 thousandths. It is on the blade stock. It is not going to be the thinnest behind the edge. I mean, this knife is obviously about the design, about the mechanism, about being cool. It's light duty. It's not meant to be your workhorse. And we're looking at, yeah, wow, 20 thousandths on the dot behind the edge. I mean, it doesn't have a super high grind. It's got things going for it, but this is clearly about the art of the knife and less about being the convenient grab and daily user functional knife. This is not something that you'd probably want to be using every day, right? I mean, just with the extra complexity of the mechanism by itself in there, it's getting dirty. It's just not going to be convenient. But it is a cool piece to have and to see and look at, and I like what they've done with it. I believe that brings us to the end of our specs, doesn't it? Yes, I believe so. So let's just talk about this thing real quick. This isn't going to be too long. Before we go any further, I would like to take the moment, because I remembered this time, to say consider liking, subscribing. Hopefully I can bring you more interesting knife content that, I mean, you don't see in a lot of other places. I don't know if anybody else has really shown this thing off. Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe if you want to help support a small channel, but leave your thoughts as to anything, how I can get better, what I'm missing, if there's more stuff that you want to see from me, or what I should do differently. Anything. Be as brutal as you can. I need input to improve, and I'm more than happy to hear it and discuss it. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just sort of winging it here, right? I mean, even these reviews are just non-scripted. I came in here and decided this is the review I'm doing today, and I'm just doing it by the seat of my pants, basically. So, any thoughts, any improvements, anything that I could do? I mean, even if it's just something as simple as do Instagram more, maybe that'll help. But yeah, I do know that I have an Instagram. It is I'll link it. You know what? I'll start linking that down in the description of the videos as well. I need to post more on there. I always forget, but I mostly just repost like shorts and stuff like that on my Instagram. However, hey, if it helps the channel grow, go follow that too if you want. But any thoughts, I wouldn't mind sort of making... I don't want the kind of community where it just turns into doing lives, right? I'm not really... I don't know if I have enough to say for that. So I don't know. What kind of thing do you want to see? What do you want to see from me? Just let me know. That'd be greatly appreciated. Now, enough hemming and hawing. Let's just talk about this thing. So the Z05 here is labeled right there. It is M390 blade steel. It's got a nice blasted finish and a very, very nice hand satin on the flats. I actually really like that. That's a really well done one. I don't know if it's going to come across on camera, but the grain's really nice in there. It is a trailing point knife, which a lot of people don't like. It is not always the most convenient because the high tip and just the shape of the blade is not always the most convenient. It is a good, draw out slicer, but I understand a lot of people don't necessarily like trailing points. I do like them aesthetically. However, this one you can actually get to the dang tip on pretty easily. Maybe that's part of why I just like the look of this thing. I don't know why. Something about the shape of this knife and the angles and the way the blade comes off from the handle and everything is just appealing. I don't know what it is, but there's something that's clean and simple here, but really just, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily even call it elegance, just it's attractive to me. As I said, it's of course not the thinnest or sliciest knife in the world, but that is just part of what you get for a small knife that is more about the design than it is about the function, right? The sharpening tool and plunge grind, I mean, the choil is fine, but the plunge grind could be a little bit better. It's not bad. You don't actually hit the stop pin in the closed position. The closed position, the tang of the blade actually hits this thing right up here, and it's right there. So technically, you have whatever life you want because it's hitting back here. Not bad, not a big deal. It is a titanium frame lock on bearings, and while I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to do it on camera, the assist is actually light enough that oftentimes I find myself just doing this and doing that. It actually did it for once on camera. I kind of worry about swinging it. Dog, really? But the assist is gentle enough that it is easy to overcome, is what I'm trying to say, and being interrupted and flailing about. You can do it one-handed pretty easily, and as you saw, I can shake it down and get it to actually close without needing to mess around with it, which is pretty nice. It's also, the assist doesn't kick in until like way down here, and it's pretty darn smooth and easy to do, despite all the moving parts, or the extra moving parts. The handle is a simple flat titanium, but it's got really nice chamfers on it. It's just, again, it's clean, and it adds to that aesthetic, I think. It's just something I found myself appreciating more than I thought, because it's just so plain, but it's, I don't know, it just works. Simple construction, as I said, it's just 2 screws here, and the backspacer is actually attached right there, obviously, on the hinge, and back here it uses the pass-through of the screw to hold all of this back in place. So pretty minimal, pretty useful in the sense of they're making use of what they have here without a bunch of extra stuff, which is nice to see. Well thought out. It is milled inside. I showed the spring. This rotates around to house extra blade length a little bit, which is just kind of a cool detail. I don't necessarily know if it needed to be there. Well, actually, it does. It's convenient to be there because you need this thing to rotate and move, so if you're already having something rotate and move, you might as well make use of it to do something, and they used it to house extra blade length. What actually holds it in closed position is, of course, the spring reaching a point where it is tense, but not too bad, with the detent, and the tang actually sits up here and acts as a flipper tab for the backspacer, which actually is doing that. As you saw just a second ago, it is movable, but it doesn't really like move around when you're using the blade. So yeah, it's fine. It is interesting and complex, but at the same time very sort of simple with what it's doing, which is nice. Flicks out pretty darn well. The pocket clip is solid. It is very, very comfortable. It is pretty low profile, so it's not going to go into like the thickest pants always easily, and it probably only will go up to about here, even though it technically can go deeper in your pants. There is a tritium slot insert there. Zyac logo is actually right there, and other than that, it is completely sterile. I mean, the blade is, very minimally hit with anything, which helps that sort of cleanliness. There is a slot, as you can see, milled into the backspacer right there to prevent the blade edge from hitting the backspacer in the closed position, which is nice. I'm glad they considered that and thought about that and took that into consideration, because there's a certain company that doesn't. American company that for some reason does not seem to take into the consideration these things, which is interesting. But we're not here to talk about them today. In fact, you probably won't be seeing much of them on my channel. But they did it here, which is nice. So it is also centered with no play. honestly, that's really all there is to say about this thing. It's really nice, and it's well executed. It's clean. It's an interesting design, just the shape in general. But they really did something just a bit unique here with the way they implemented this spring. I will say that deployment is something that you do have to get used to. It's a little bit subject to lock bar pressure, but mostly it's subject to the fact that when you deploy it, let's see, we'll do it here. When you deploy it, this rotates around and has to stick out right there. See how it sticks out when it's being deployed while it's rotating into its final position? Because of that, you can't really palm the knife because you're sitting on where that thing needs to go, and what happens is that. So you have to be a little bit more, like, keep it a little bit more in your hand, raise a little bit. It's really easy when you get used to it, and it's really consistent, and the assist helps just give it that extra little snap out there. Honestly, I found myself liking this a lot more than I thought I would. It's a cool piece. It's a fun one. Like I said, it's kind of unfortunate maybe for some people that would want to check it out that I can't link it, but hopefully you enjoyed seeing it. I'm actually just going to end things here and say thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you liked seeing kind of a rare piece. Like I said, I don't think many people have showcased this, or has there been any other like YouTubers or anything that got one of these things and showcased it? Don't know. I haven't been paying enough attention, I guess. But here it is. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing it. Hopefully you're having a good day. And I'm going to end things here and say thank you very much for watching. See you later, I hope. And I'm out.